Hello and welcome to Classeek 15. I'm Charlotte Gardner and my guest this week is cellist and Classeek ambassador Gautier Capuçon. Known of course as one of the world's busiest and most celebrated concert soloists, but also someone who is increasingly active and committed to discovering and nurturing future generations of musicians. For 8 years he devoted himself to running a classe d'excellence de violoncelle at the Fondation Louis Vuitton in Paris. Then in 2020, in response to the pandemic, he created Un été en France, which now each summer in partnership with Société Générale sees him take a group of young artists of a range of disciplines, selected by audition, on tour with him around France. He's also ambassador for France's Orchestre à l'École Association, which brings classical music to over 42,000 school children each year. Then, in January 2022, he launched the philanthropic initiative he's here to talk about today, and of which Classeek is a partner, the Fondation Gautier Capuçon, which aims to support exceptional young musicians in France and abroad during their studies and in the first steps of their careers. So, Gautier, welcome. We'll talk in just a moment about exactly what the foundation does and for whom, but let's begin with the story behind its creation. Was this an idea that had been bubbling away, or was it pandemic-inspired?
Well, it comes from my long-term engagement for education and transmission, actually, since more than 10 years, which I think is very important. I was extremely lucky to have incredible teachers who took care of me and guided me those past 35 years. I started the cello, I was 5 years old. And at a certain moment of life, I think it's normal and important to give back what you were lucky to receive. So that's, I think, the first side of this answer. And since many years I'm teaching, and I'm also really concerned about this period between 18 years old and 25, when you finish your studies in a big music school and you get your degree and professional life is starting, and you think that it's actually going to be fine. You're going to find lots of concerts, you're going to tour around the world, play on beautiful concert stages, and then you soon realize that it's extremely difficult to find your first engagement. And I was always very much concerned about this and wanted to help them. But of course, the pandemic increased these difficulties tremendously. So before the pandemic, finding concerts was really hard. But during the pandemic, we know that all the concerts were cancelled. Not all of them were postponed. And the few of them which were postponed were, of course, more for musicians already known or much advanced in the professional career. So those people, those young artists that nobody knows yet, had their concert not postponed, and they end up with nothing. And now, after the pandemic, it's extremely difficult for them to find concerts and engagements. So yes, the pandemic made me go faster with this process. And one day I woke up and I thought, okay, that's now that I really want to reinforce this engagement and to build this foundation and to use my name to really help them as much as I can.
Okay, so let's talk about the foundation's offering. Who exactly is it for, first of all? What age, what stage, what instruments, what nationality?
Young artists between 18 and 25 years old, so really in this period of time between end of studies and the beginning of professional life. We are starting with string instruments as well as the piano. We start a little bit smaller in a way because, of course, I would like to broaden this family of artists to, of course, other instruments, but as well as composition, conductors, singers. So let's hope in the future the foundation will be strong enough to support many artists and different instruments. We really want to help a musician building really this professional life. And so the first action of the foundation is to give scholarships. like many foundations do, and I think it's the more we can do, the more we are to help them, the best. And it's actually what I've done in my own education. I studied in Paris, and then I went to study in Vienna. And thanks to a scholarship I got, I was able to go and to study in Vienna with Heine Schiff for 3 years. So this is also my personal experience. My parents were not able to support those studies. So I think in many cases you need the help of scholarship to do that. So we give scholarship. We just did the first scholarships now. We announced a few days ago 10 scholarships. So pianist, violinist, viola, and cello. That's are for a semester, but you can go up to 4 semesters, so you can be helped for 2 years in a row by the foundation. So this is the first round of scholarships. We gave also this year exceptional scholarships to young Ukrainian musicians, which I think it's also very important to support them. I went a few times to play in Ukraine, and I have a great relationship with those musicians, and I was also a few weeks ago with my dear friend Frank Bralet in Lviv in Ukraine to give 2 concerts in support of Ukrainian people, and I met all those musicians. Of course, it was full of emotions to be with them, and so we are very happy, the foundation, to help also this year those young Ukrainian musicians.
Now, you mentioned Frank Bralet. It's not just you looking at the applications coming in, is it?
No, it's not just me. If we just take a few moments to talk about the setup of the foundation, we are under the umbrella of Fondation de France, which is a big institution where lots of foundations are under this Fondation de France. So they have a great expertise. They're extremely serious. And for me, it was also very important to build my own foundation with the support of and the expertise of this Fondation de France, and also not to be alone and to have the expertise of other musicians, such as Frank Bralet, pianist, and Alain Altinoglu, conductor. They're both very good friends. They're both partners on stage with whom I play since many years, and both of them have many years of experience in education. They're both teaching in Paris CNSM, National Music School, and for me it's important also to be able to share the ideas and share how we can develop, how we can help them in the best way possible. So the selection process was made together with Alain and Frank, so the 3 of us.
You're supporting people through the studies. What are the other planks? I know there's a recording in the mix.
So the second action is probably one of the most important in this transition period between end of studies and beginning of professional life, is to be on stage. And this is where I really want also to help to bring those young people on stage. So there are different ways to do it. The first way is something which is done in the pop music since decades. It's to use a concert of a big artist or a famous group, and in the first half or before the concert or during the concert, whatever, but to use this opportunity to present to the audience, to the professional actors of cultural and business, to present them 1 or 2 or 3 or more young artists.
Support acts.
Exactly. And that we've done since the launch of the foundation in January 2022. The first concert of the Fondation Gautier Capuçon was in Vienna at the Concert House, and I was actually very happy to do it in Vienna because I was artist in residence this year, and they welcomed the project really. I was very touched to do it in Vienna, which is also a very important city for me in my heart since many years. And I brought the first laureate of the foundation, Kim Bernard, a young pianist, brought him to a recital I was doing with Nikolai Lugansky. And basically, I introduce, in a few words, the Fondation. I introduce the young artist who's playing, and then the artist is playing 10-15 minutes inside this program. So it's a little gift we give to the audience. The audience is discovering a young artist. Of course, we try to match the program of this young artist with the existing program. It has to make sense artistically. It's of course, it's not just, adding a piece or no. It has to make sense in the whole musical story of the evening. But I think it's a great opportunity for them after being in a music school, what do we need as musicians? We learn all our life, but we need to play, we need to learn on stage, we need to experience. So that's a very important point, as well as developing partnerships with concert halls and festival, and helping to promote those young people. So the Fondation Gautier Capuçon is paying for the fees of those young artists. So basically it costs nothing or almost nothing to the promoters to invite them. So it's really to give those young artists a chance and to say to the concert promoters, well, you don't take so much risk because financially, of course, we support them, and it gives so much opportunity to those young artists. So that's the second action. And the third action is also very important, is we are editing one recording a year with one or more young musicians in partnership with Warner Classeek, which is my historical record label since more than 20 years.
So you're editing a recording, you're making a recording, you're making a debut recording.
Yes, we're making a debut recording. Thanks for correcting my poor English. So the title is the Fondation Gautier Capuçon Presents. And now the first recording is with the first laureates of the Fondation, which is Kim Bernard. And he did record pieces by Chopin, Debussy, and Ravel on it. So I'm really, really proud that on this first year, launch was in January. So already after a few months, we already were able to do quite a number of concerts, already 10 scholarships, and one recording.
What are your long-term goals? You've talked about wanting to do more with other instruments and singers.
Well, the goal is to really create a family, a musical family around this foundation, with the young artists, of course, around for them, of course, pursuing their studies, concerts, recording, playing with them, but helping them to develop and having this safe place where also they can ask some advices to me, to Franck, to Alain, and to also all the artists which are and will be welcome to join this effort in helping them. I think the more we are to help them, the best it is. Create this family also with the concert halls and the promoters. In a festival, every year, one concert of the Fondation, in a concert series in France, in Europe, in America, everywhere. And this is the goal on the long term, to really help promote them, put them in the light as much as we can.
And I think that there's somebody else working with you as well, isn't there?
Yes, I'm very, very lucky to have gotten the help and the side of a brilliant young lady who's called Danuta Pieter, and whom I know since many years. She was the head of a big foundation in France for more than 1 decade, and she's into philanthropy since many years. And for me it's important to also have someone part of this family and really helping developing those ideas, but also helping the young musicians. I can see she's already really almost like a mother or a big sister for all those young musicians.
Finally, of course, one of the very encouraging things about the post-COVID young artist landscape is that everybody has realised that young artists need a whole load more opportunities. There are more places are springing up on existing programmes. There's you now. But we also all have to accept that there are not going to be enough places for every single talented young artist, not even every single talented young artist who has it in them to be a major soloist. So to close, what would you say are the ways in which a young artist who doesn't get on a scheme for whatever reason can still be doing to make sure that they are meeting the right people and having the right impact, getting noticed, even though they don't have an umbrella organisation to help them?
Well, it's very difficult to give one advice because there is no rule. There is not only one way to do things. But I think there are numbers of things that are important to be very attentive, and to know also that playing well is not, of course, it is extremely important, but that's not enough. I think being humble, being curious, being open-minded, and listen to different advice that asking for advice to a concert promoter, to a journalist, to a manager, to another musician, and trying to find your own way. I've seen also some young musicians trying to be like this or like that because maybe this artist was successful and okay, maybe that's the way I'm going to do like this. I don't think also that's the answer, because being sincere in what you give, in the message you send, in the music, but also in what you say is extremely important.
Yeah, you have to be yourself.
Be yourself.
Gautier, thank you very much indeed. And anyone wanting to know more about the Fondation Gautier Capuçon, either as a young musician or as someone wishing to make a donation to its work, the website address is simply fondationgautiercapuçon.com, or you can find it via the link on Gautier's official website. That's all from Classeek 15 this time. Thank you for listening. And until next time, goodbye.